Hi, I'm Allison, and my topic is child sexual abuse. Sexual violence happens all over the world, and it comes in many different forms. According to the organization RAINN, sexual violence is an all-encompassing, non-legal term that refers to crimes such as sexual assault, rape, child sexual abuse, and intimate partner sexual violence. Child sexual abuse is a form of child abuse that includes any sexual activity with a minor. Some forms of child sexual abuse can be intercourse, exposing private parts in front of a minor, masturbation in presence of a minor, phone calls and text messages to a minor that is sex trafficking, and child pornography. Unfortunately, most of the perpetrators are people that the child knows or a family member. According to RAINN, at least 93% of the children know their abuser. Their abuser doesn't even have to be an adult to be the perpetrator. Many perpetrators who sexually abuse children take advantage of the child's vulnerability and use their power in order to gain control and intimidate the child. There are many children affected by it and victims of it too. According to RAINN, every 9 minutes a child is in protective services are a victim of child sexual abuse. 66% are between the ages of 12 and 17, and 34% are under the age of 12. According to the National Center of Victims of Crime, 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 20 boys experience some sort of sexual abuse when they are a child. Another problem with this issue is that when a child is a victim of sexual abuse, they are more likely to have long-term impacts on a child's mental and physical health. According to Preventing Child Abuse, a child is more likely to have unplanned pregnancies, chronic health conditions, depression, PTSD, substance abuse, and an increased risk of suicide if they have been a victim of sexual abuse. The problem with this issue is that it can create a lot of stress for the individual and family. The theory that will be applied for child sexual abuse is the family stress and resilience theory. According to Allen and Henderson in our textbook, this theory addresses the fact that their life is full of risk that threatens the individual and family's well-being. When a child is sexually abused, this can cause a lot of stress for the child and the family. To conceptualize family stress, there's an ABCX model in the textbook. In the ABCX model, A is the stressor, B is the resources, C is the perception, and X is the crisis. An example for this model would be A, the child is being sexually abused by their softball coach. B, the child confides in their parents as their resources, and the parents look towards family members, the school board, and the police as a resource too. C, the family is seen as broken because the parents feel like it's their fault this has happened to them, and the child sees themselves as one at fault and blames themselves for the disruption of the family because of the sexual abuse that happened towards them. And X, the child has developed anger and trust issues with the family and male authority figures and has developed an anxiety because of the situation that happened to them. Another concept in this theory, when a child is sexually abused happens, there's a lot of trauma that can come with it, which can affect individuals and affect the family as a whole. For individuals that suffer the trauma, it can lead to anxiety, depression, PTSD, suicidal thoughts. When this happens, it can affect the family function and lead to more stress into the family. Other concepts in this theory are family resilience and coping. When a child sexual abuse happens in the family, it can disrupt a family's functioning, like example given above, but there are some families that are able to cope with this stressor and be resilient. Some ways individuals and families can cope with this stressor are relying on each other, going to therapy, relying on friends that care about you. When families are doing this, they are being resilient from the situation and not allowing it to overpower them. Some resilience include healthy coping, confronting the situation in a healthy way, regrouping after the stressor has occurred, and being there as a family. One way to help prevent or stop child sexual abuse from going further is to develop better recommendations and policy alternatives. One policy alternative includes establishing Erin's Law in all 50 states. According to the National Alliance to End Sexual Violence, Erin's Law requires all schools K through 8th to teach children about child sexual abuse prevention. This allows children to understand what child sexual abuse is while using age-appropriate techniques, and it also teaches parents and guardians the warning signs of child sexual abuse, where to get assistance and information for support on the child who has been sexually abused. Erin's Law is only passed in 37 states, so it's important to get it passed in all 50 states. Other recommendations include talking to the child about the differences between appropriate and inappropriate touching, teaching children what consent is, teaching children how to respond when someone is pressuring them into a sexual activity, recognizing the signs, not being afraid to report if you expect something, supporting the child victim, and having these recommendations and policy alternatives will hopefully help individuals and families deal with the stresses in their lives.